big story at 5, a story that we've been following here at Fox 5 for you. The latest on the rise in opioid injuries across the region.
And those deaths involving fentanyl are amongst young people, between teenagers to people in 30 years old. David Kaplan live tonight at Wooten High School in Rockville with more on that. David?
Good evening to you. It's a presentation that State's Attorney John McCarthy here in Montgomery County makes with some regularity, warning about the rise in overdoses and overdose deaths, especially since the pandemic began. He says oftentimes what they're finding is people think they're taking painkillers or anti-anxiety medication. It ends up being laced with fentanyl and causing a lot of death and a lot of harm, especially among young people. He wants it to stop.
Being artificially manufactured, they're being put out onto the street, and people are taking what they think is a dilaudid pill or an oxy, and in reality they're taking fentanyl and they're not waking up from it.
I have to tell you, there was a point during this assembly today with Wooten seniors when students were asked to raise their hand if they knew someone who had died because of a drug overdose, and a few dozen hands went up. McCarthy stressing the dangers of fentanyl, emphasizing Maryland's Good Samaritan Law that allows people to call 911 for the sake of helping someone overdosing without fear of prosecution. Kids heard from Jen and Jeff Pissarra, whose son Michael, a 2018 Wooten graduate, died of an overdose in July of 2020. They say Michael was a good kid who made a bad decision, and it cost him his life.
It breaks my heart because I know it can be stopped. And easy to say, I know, but if the kids can just understand that if it's not a prescription pill, should assume it's poisoned. And just they have to know that.
Don't be afraid to have the difficult conversations with your kids about what can potentially happen. We're living proof of that, unfortunately.
All right, so yesterday we told you about 2 Prince William, Virginia teenagers who died after taking what they thought were painkillers, but police say they believe fentanyl was in those pills. We also had another Montgomery County student here who died earlier this year under the same circumstances, as well as 10 people in D.C. where authorities believe it was fentanyl-laced pills. So certainly something we are seeing plenty of in our area, unfortunately, Marina.
Without question, David, it's certainly alarming. But amongst those overdose deaths, how often is it being linked to fentanyl?
Well, Marina, we have a micro example here in Montgomery County that's rather shocking. We are told that 95% of fatal drug overdoses here in Montgomery County in the last year, fentanyl was somehow involved in those deaths. So certainly the reason officials are starting to sound more alarms about this as we're seeing these cases in our area.
Without question, eye-opening at the least. David Kaplan live tonight in Rockville. Thank you.